One last cigar.
Welcome to the Stogie Geek Show, episode 125. This episode is sponsored by Mr. J Savannah Smoke Shop, located here in Rhode Island. They have an outstanding selection of premium handmade cigars. And by the Havana Cigar Club, located in Warwick, Rhode Island. It's a great place to enjoy a drink and a cigar. Stogie Geeks listeners can find a $5 off coupon on our website by clicking the HCC logo. And by AJ Fernandez Cigars. AJ Fernandez Cigars are handcrafted in Nicaragua using the finest materials. Brands include the San Latano, Pinolero, and AJ's recently released New World brand. Visit them on the web at ajfernandezcigars.com. And by Debonair Cigars. Visit stogiegeeks.com/Debonair for a list of retailers who carry Debonair. Buy some today and get a little more Debonair. And by Ocean State Cigars. Try the J Grotto series, including the Connecticut Shade Silk and the all-new J Grotto Anniversary series. Visit them on the web at oceanstatecigars.com for a full list of retailers. Welcome, everyone, to this edition of the Stogie Geek Show. I'm your host, Paul Asadorian, joined on the lines via Skype from North Carolina, Mr. Will Cooper.
Greetings, everybody.
What's going on, Will?
Great day, great day.
Oh, that's good. That's good. You
Yep,
smoke a lot
for
of good
change.
cigars today?
Yeah.
You seem excited about something.
Well, I'm still laughing at this video message I got on my phone today from Stokey Santa.
Oh, yes. That was a very interesting.
I can't stop laughing about it. I'm sorry.
It was pretty funny. So what's going on, dude?
Well, it's this, and we'll get into it. There was a really good cigar I had this week, which I can't wait to talk about. I've already talked a little about it on Cigar Coop. We're smoking tonight and an unbanded.
Is this your unbanded, or is this?
This is my unbanded,
Okay.
and you have it as well as our guests.
Yes. Oh, okay. So I'm smoking it now.
Yep.
It is a 60 ring unbanded. I'm assuming.
I just figured I'd piss everyone off and send a 60 ring.
As you can see when we switch to the cigar cam, I don't know if we can get it. Yeah, there you go. It's got some serious wrapper issues. The wrapper was kind of like peeling off and stuff. I'm not sure what was going on there. It's just my luck because of Paul syndrome. I get the one with the funky, dry, cracked out wrapper. And I don't think it was my humidor because I've been smoking under my humidor for 2 weeks now here in the studio, and everything else is fine. It was just the one I had to smoke for the show.
I'll tell you, it's really been dry. It's been dry, at least in the southeast.
It didn't look dry in Florida where Stogie Santa was in the pool.
No.
It looked, not moist, because moist wouldn't be the appropriate word. You only use moist when you talk about towelettes or cake, I'm told. That's the only time you can use the word moist.
Yeah.
So now that we got that out of the way, proper usage of English words, I want to introduce our guests for this evening. We're joined by Emmett Malone. Maloney? Malone, I knew that. And Aaron Loomis. And Emmett and Aaron are from Blind Man's Puff, focusing on unbanded cigar reviews. The site has developed a unique, comprehensive methodology for assessing unbanded reviews using a team of experienced cigar reviewers. And what I would say is somewhat of a science. I mean, it is an art to it, but you guys, there's a lot of science behind it, which I think is really cool. So each one of you answered this individually. How did you guys get started smoking cigars?
The site was originally my idea. I was looking at the top 25 list from Cigar Aficionado. It was like 2 or 3 years ago, and I was unhappy with the selections that they picked, and I just started thinking about how we could do blind reviews better. And we try and give a lot more detail than some other places, more than one sentence, and I think that it's nice to be able to see all the all the bones behind it, what each individual person thought. And Aaron joined on shortly after, and he's been the biggest help I could have had. And Aaron, I'll let you talk.
Yeah, so Emmett kind of posted out the idea, and I immediately thought it was a great idea for a site. I was trying to help him out logistically with how to get the cigars to all the different reviewers. It's not the easiest thing to work with 13 different reviewers and get them multiple cigars at the same time. So I kind of took that role on of unbanning the cigars, and I wasn't really doing any reviews. I was kind of just going to be the behind the scenes guy and allow them to get the cigars without anyone else that's in the crew getting to know what it was. So I did that, and it's kind of been moving on from there. I get to do a few reviews. Emmett will take on some of the unbanning that he's not going to be a part of, and then I'll get to do some reviews here and there.
Yeah, I was going to say, so you guys kind of switch it up, right? Because whoever's unbanning the cigars obviously knows what it is. So you guys
I do the majority still, but every once in a while, Emmett will throw a couple in there so that I can get in on the fun.
Nice. And now, how many reviewers do you have on your team?
Currently, we have 13. We've had some that have come in and gone. Life gets in the way of things. This is all a hobby, so they have regular day jobs that take precedence over things like reviewing cigars and family life. So we've transferred some people in and out, but we still have a group of 13.
That's a pretty large group. Well, I mean, what goes into managing that? And so you have to buy 13 of the same cigar to unban?
No, we don't have everybody on each review.
Okay.
We try to go with a minimum of 5. In some cases, there will be just 4 people on a review, but we try to use 5 as the minimum on each review. So not everybody's on every review. Based on our review posting schedule, we try to do 3 a week. So if everybody had to smoke 3 cigars a week for the review, I think everybody would get burnt out pretty quick. So this gives people a break that they don't have to constantly be smoking for, still fun, but still work. They can still smoke during the weekend and not have to, take notes and things like that. They can enjoy it.
For our audience, what's different about the experience when you're reviewing a cigar versus smoking one purely for the enjoyment of it?
For me, I think you're just paying a lot more attention to the cigar itself, and you're kind of tuning out some of the other things. You're not watching a baseball game, drinking a beer, smoking a cigar, talking to your buddies, and not really paying attention to the cigar. I think you're focusing a lot more on just kind of what you're doing with the cigar itself. So, you're not. It's not so easy, I guess, to multitask while you're reviewing a cigar. That'd be my take on it.
Yeah, but it's hard. I mean, I'm in a cigar shop and people ask me if I'm reviewing. I'm like, heck no. You just can't do it.
Yeah, and the people that do reviews while they're on shows, I take my hats off to them. It's to being able to talk and smoke a cigar and try to keep in mind what you're getting from the cigar and how it's going. It's a lot of things going on at once.
It's a lot of drinking and then smoking and talking, which is sometimes I go to smoke my drink and drink my cigar. It gets confusing. So how do you choose which cigars you're going to review? Obviously, that's left to one person, right? Because the other person can't know, or...
Yeah, I mean, we can talk to manufacturers, or Emmett and I can kind of strategize on what cigars that we want to bring in. He may know kind of an idea of what we're going to do, but unless the format of the cigar is very unique, where you can really pick it out, he may not be able to tell which one it is because he doesn't know what the number associates to the cigar. But we'll just talk about things that we think are going to be well received out there, maybe things that people are kind of clamoring for information on. But we also like to do cigars that people maybe haven't heard a lot about, or there haven't been a lot of reviews out there. I think we're just kind of going across the board and trying to find some unique things, as well as making sure we're hitting some of the staples that are out there. Yeah,
and it is somewhat limiting. I've noticed when we do unbanded segments, you can't do anything that has a unique shape. A chisel would kind of give it away.
Yeah.
So you have to go with regular shaped cigars, and that's kind of limiting. So how do you kind of mix it up?
like I said, it's tough. It's just random finding things that you. First off, there's so many cigars, especially that are released in a single year, that you're not going to get to all of them. So you really just have to kind of say, this is what we're going to hit up. Or there are some times where people will reach out to us and say, we'd like you to review our cigar, and I'm not going to turn anyone away unless they're like, hounding me to make sure I'm giving them a good review or something like that. Our whole goal is to be unbiased. So, but if someone reaches out, we're more than happy to review a cigar for them.
Now, Emmett, when you're smoking the cigars, right? Do you kind of like try and get into Aaron's head, or like do you have to like fight that? Like I do that when I smoke unbanded. Like I try and get, if Will's giving me an unbanded, I'll be smoking it, and now I'm not paying attention to the cigar. I'm totally thinking, okay, if Will had to choose a 60 ring that he wanted me to smoke, was it something that he talked about in passing? Was there a new 60 ring and a manufacturer that maybe I said something, that I didn't like their cigar, so he's trying to trick me? And like, my brain goes in a million different directions. Like, how do you prevent yourself from going down that path, or is that just inevitable with doing unbandeds?
No, I mean there's times when it's hard, but I just try and be zen about it and not think about it too much.
I think that's a good term. I like that. You do have to be. There's something zen about doing an unbanded. I agree.
Yeah. Yeah, we get enough that we'll get a shipment from Aaron of 20 different cigars, and there's no way I could pick out all of them or even necessarily one of them. So even if I know what's coming, it's still tough.
So do you? There's no part of it that like you have to guess what cigar it was, right?
Nope.
Yeah.
Some people have guessed in their overall notes section. Some are right, some are wrong. I've been right like once or twice, maybe.
Out of how many hundred cigars?
I think we've reviewed almost 300 now.
And you got one.
Well, I never guess unless I'm pretty sure.
No, that's great. Now, doing them blind, and I haven't done as many blind reviews as you guys have. Are you able to? I would think it would give you this kind of more uncanny ability to pick out different types of tobacco. Do you find yourself going like that flavor note?
You definitely
must
start
have
noticing
this kind of tobacco in it. That also distracts me when I'm doing an unbanded cigars. I'm like, there's that flavor note. It's got to be this kind of tobacco. Does that distract you, or do you kind of use that?
No, I think it's a good weapon to have. I think I've definitely gotten better at identifying at least wrappers from the taste and the look and the feel and all that. I think with experience like that, I think you do focus in a little tighter on the details when it's blind for sure.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. So now you guys lit up the 60 ring from Will. What do you guys think of this so far? Is your wrapper coming apart like mine is, or is it?
No, mine's pristine.
Of course.
Yeah, mine looks great so far.
Excellent. So you guys just lit up. Yeah, I lit up a little earlier so I could smoke through some of it before we. Did you?
Yeah, I had a slight crack on mine, so I don't want you to feel left out, Paul.
Okay, thanks, Aaron. Thanks for your support.
It's not crushed or anything like that, but it's all right.
Is this really a 60 ring, or is it? I thought it was more like 56.
Yeah, 56 is what I thought.
They are advertising this as a 60.
Oh, really? Okay.
The only reason
the
only reason I guessed that is because Will said smoke the unbanded 60 ring that I sent you. So I had an unfair advantage there of knowing that it was a 60 ring. So
they're calling it a Gordo, a 6x60.
Okay.
Looks a little thinner to me, but.
Who is they, Will?
Yeah, it does. Well, I mean, we'll kind of go through it.
See, I was trying to get you there. I'm just not good at this unbanded smoking, I guess.
It is. Now, I'll say this. I'll admit, I tried to pick something that probably no one smoked before. And I'm kind of curious.
So there's no chance we're going to guess it.
You might, because you might have been around the same circles as we were when this cigar came out.
Oh, see, that's like a hint, Will. That's like a hint.
I'm not saying they were. I'll come out straight. This is something from the IPCPR.
Oh, okay.
So I've had it in the humidor, hopefully under good conditions. And I'm kind of
mine.
Curious to see where you guys Did
you leave mine on the counter for 2 weeks before you sent it to me?
You just touched it. I mean,
that's exactly what it knew. It knew it was for me.
But
so
I'm
this was
curious
from an IPCPR at some point in the past, or are you going to get specific and say that it was this year?
Yeah. It was from an IPC. And actually, I met Aaron and Emmett. Yeah, I met them at the show. It was great meeting them. So, I mean, that's kind of where I was thinking. Let me see if I can get something that they may have had. I don't know if they blind reviewed it or not. I'm kind of curious to see what people think the blend is. That's kind of where I'm kind of real curious on that more than anything as we go through this. Because this cigar surprised me when I smoked it in this size.
So, Emmett,
I actually enjoyed it in this.
Emmett, I'm sorry, Will. Emmett, I want to go back to you and talk about when you're reviewing a cigar. Do you like how crazy do you get when you're reviewing it? Is it a specific environment that you smoke it in? Do you cleanse your palate? Is there anything like that you go through, or do you just kind of smoke them?
Well, now I have my own smoking room since we moved, so that's kind of where I live now. But I usually just try and stick to water, and after a big meal, unless it's obviously Connecticut or something. Other than that, it's pretty fair game.
Aaron, what about you? Is there a process that you have for when you're doing a review?
Yeah, I'm drinking usually sparkling water, Pellegrino specifically. Just want to be able to have something that's kind of neutral and cleanses the palate. But yeah, I won't be drinking anything else with it unless I'm going to do a pairing review, which is not a blind review. But yeah, I mean that's pretty much the extent of the kind of the routine I go through. But, first cigar of the day for me is kind of the way it'll happen, and I won't review 2 cigars on the same day.
Yeah, I try not to smoke after I've already had another one.
Yeah, that's a good point. And also, doing a blind review, it's tough because you don't know what the strength profile is of that cigar.
Right.
So
yeah, you can get surprised pretty easily.
Yeah, so Emmett, I like your advice to eat a meal beforehand just in case it's kind of more of a powerhouse cigar. So tell me a little bit about your methodology in scoring. What went into creating that?
So it's actually pretty complex. I don't know if you can actually go into a review and look at the spreadsheet that calculates everything. Basically what we do is we have all 5 guys rate each individual section, so they get a score for appearance, construction, flavor, everything you can think of. And each individual category, the outliers are picked out. So if somebody rates it really higher or really lower than everybody else, that won't be counted. Then those scores are totaled, or averaged, I guess, and those are all weighted as part of the final score. So the most important category is the overall experience. I think that's worth about 35% of the total score, something like that. And then the rest kind of break down from there. Flavor, each of the flavors, the thirds is worth 10%. And so it's all weighted, and outliers are taken out. And that's about it.
Very cool. And obviously you can go to your site and you can sort by the overall score out of 100, correct?
Right.
Yep.
So were you guys surprised when the Ezra Zion FHK The Truth was the number one? That was your number one cigar this year, right?
It was,
yeah. I wasn't surprised because I was on the review that smoked it, so
Yeah.
that got my vote.
Nice.
How did Paul, I'm sorry.
No.
I was gonna say, how did that work in terms of, did you blindly do it like Cigar Aficionado, or was there a different way you guys did that?
We wanted to try and mix it up for the top 25, because if you just took, the top 25 highest scoring cigars on our site, it'd be pretty easy to predict it. So what we did is we had each of our panelists get 15 votes to pick as their favorite cigars of the year. So it doesn't necessarily have to be one that we reviewed on the site. We actually had a couple make it that we haven't reviewed yet. So yeah, each person got 15 votes, and then those were added up, and that was our list.
Cool. So what do you guys smoke when you're not reviewing? Like, what if you're like, oh, I'm so thankful I don't have to do a review. I'm going to go light something up. Like, what are you guys lighting up?
I usually don't smoke the same cigar more than once or twice. I mean, I kind of crank through as much different stuff as I can. And I don't get to smoke all that often. I mean, I just had a baby on Halloween, so I'm thank you. I may be getting to smoke, twice a week, if that. So it's really just I'm trying something different all the time.
What about you, Emmett?
My wife says I have a problem because I buy too many cigars, and she's right. So
we've heard that before about from our wives as well. So
I've got boxes that I haven't even cracked open yet, so it's always something different.
So what's your favorite like special occasion cigar?
Oh, jeez. I guess probably my Behike 52s.
Nice, nice.
Yeah, I just had a 54 recently, and it was pretty good. But I think that my favorite cigar is the La Excepcion, which is a regional release Cuban for Italy. So that's kind of the one. I've got a few of those, so I kind of hold on to those. And after having a baby, that was a good cigar to go to.
Do you guys include the Cuban cigars in your regular review cycle?
Yeah, when we get some Cubans to review, we do have them on occasion, but it's not very frequent, but we do mix them in.
Nice.
I think this 2015 will have more Cubans, more than last year for sure.
Cool. Will, did you have more questions for our guests?
Yeah, so let's just kind of a couple of things. Want to go back to Cigar Aficionado, and Emmett, you kind of made a point saying, you felt that they didn't do a good job. There wasn't enough detail. Were there any other flaws that you said, hey, we can do better? And how did that go into eventually the vision for Blind Man's Puff?
Yeah, I mean, I think my biggest problem is that they only give you a one-sentence review, which is just silly, and a score, which without anything else behind it is kind of meaningless. And that's for their regular reviews, which I think are pretty on point usually as far as how the score goes, how it lines up with me. But I think their top 25 list is pretty biased. You can't really prove anything, but I feel like it's kind of bought and paid for. And certain cigars make it that don't. And then they include cigars that have been out for 6 years. Who cares? So it's just that was kind of another thing that I wanted to avoid.
It's interesting. I've heard obviously the bought and paid for thing, and obviously that could be debated. I think what I've seen in the last couple of years in the cigar media, the new media, is this fanboy list stuff that's now coming up, where drinking buddies are list the cigars. The top 3 cigars happen to be the top 3 drinking buddies, and it was. I'm not going to call it a specific site, but there was one in particular where I saw a few manufacturers drinking at an event with this site, and they happen to be the top 3 cigars.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, and this is more of a point. I'm seeing this right now as bad a problem as many people can make the arguments with Cigar Aficionado, and I see what you guys are bringing to the table, what you're doing. I mean, it's completely unbiased. This is, and I got to take my hats off on that.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing for the site is that we don't want to. We hate for somebody to say that about us, that we have a bias or they think we're playing favorites to somebody. I do as much as I can to make sure that nobody knows anything about the cigars they're getting. They don't get any hints. They can ask all they want. They're not going to get an answer from me. And it's just that, we want to put up the reviews as they come. So, if it's a bad review, it's a bad review. It's just what everybody honestly thought about it. But the thing is that you're getting it from a panel of people, so it's not, a singular palette that you have to see, determine if it matches with you or not. You have, 5 guys that you can choose from that, maybe you'll match up with one of them, and you'll find a guy on the review that really fits your palette.
Yeah, and I want to add another thing onto that because I've participated in 3 of these. As a panelist, I do not know that cigar until the day that review is published, until that review is actually published. So I have no idea until then, which I thought I liked that actually because I was looking forward to it as it was coming up. But I think it's another testament to how you guys have been doing things.
Yeah, because one of the possibilities is that not everybody's going to smoke the cigar the same day. So if somebody smokes it on Monday and they hit me up and say, hey, I smoked it, what was it? I don't want to share that with them because reviewers are friends and they talk, and maybe somebody tells somebody else what it was and they haven't smoked it yet, and then now they have a notion of what they how they want to feel about that cigar, and then it's no longer unbiased. So it's it's really a secret until the end.
How has the manufacturing community embraced or not embraced this? So now you're this is your media entity. You guys are bringing a very unique thing to. Have they been? Yeah, we want to do it, or is it they're? I could see some manufacturers saying, "Yeah, we'll do it" because they're confident in their product, and I can see others being very gun shy on this.
Yeah, we were really curious because we started February 2013, and we got to go to IPCPR that year. So we were really interested to see how we would be received when we were able to talk to the people that we hadn't already had somewhat of a relationship with, and we were really surprised at how welcoming a lot of them were. Not they were very friendly, whether they were they wanted to work with us or not work with us. But that was a perfect point. Is how are they going to feel? Are they when you tell them your concept and then you see the look in their face, are they like I'm not sure I want you to smoke it and not and they don't know what it is, and they want to ride their name maybe to a score rather than let the cigar speak on its own. But I think it's been well so far, and it's starting out. Some of the bigger people don't pay much attention to you, and then as time goes on, you build a review base. You get some you get some traction out there. Then you start being able to talk to some of the larger entities, and we've kind of been moving along since then.
And so, in terms of what you've done with, talking to these manufacturers, what has been? Have they now come to you and said, "Hey, we got this coming out. We want you guys to blind me"? Have you found out they're seeking you out to do this, or is it still maybe you guys are going after people?
It's a little bit of both. I mean, some of them are, you may do a review for someone, and then you kind of, spark up a relationship with them, and they're like, okay, yeah, we like what's going on. We love the concept. We're gonna keep, hitting you guys up when we have come out with something new. And then there's other times where, someone will reach out to us. Maybe it's a new brand, or maybe it's a long-standing brand. They hear us in passing, or somebody else mentions us to them, and they reach out to us. So that's kind of how things have moved along from there.
What's been the highest scoring cigar?
I think we've had 3 or 4 different cigars that have gotten 95s. The Ezra Zion, the CYB, I think, or was that a 94? There haven't been too many 95s. Let me check on the site.
Yeah, definitely the FHK.
I got the Total Flame FTW Robusto.
Yep, that's right. And then the
That was a
Wilson
very
Adams.
good cigar.
Yeah, that
Wilson
one surprised all of
Adams.
us.
I have a
And-
couple of those.
I have a question from the chat, and they ask, I understand the whole take out the highest and lowest reviews as you want to have an average, but isn't that taking some of the opinion out of the reviewer, or the opinion out of your reviewer?
It's not necessarily taking out a high or a low score. It's an outlier. So I take the standard deviation of all the scores for that category, and if one is outside of that, it doesn't get counted. So there'll be times when there's no outliers, but it's really only the case of everybody gave that category high 90s, and one person gave it an 80. We don't want that average dragging the whole thing down.
Yeah, and the notes are all available to anybody that wants to read it. So it's not like it's nixed out and it's blocked out from the world. People can still see that someone scored it low, and they can see the notes that went along with that. It just doesn't factor into the actual score.
And it's not like their entire review is thrown out. It's just their score for that specific category. If they had a draw that was messed up, we don't want that dragging down the score for everybody else.
And how many different categories are there?
I want to say there's at least 8 or 9.
It's appearance, aroma, flavors for each third, draw, burn, construction, and overall experience.
Gotcha.
So talking about the numbers, and this is something, when I put numbers into Cigar Coop, it was 2012. I've kind of really had to refine this a lot. In terms of, there's a lot of criticism about the 100-point scale.
Yeah.
And, I've tried recently to try to get my scores more into the industry line. I think you guys have done a good job with that, in terms of really where they lie. So you guys, was that something you guys actively tried to do?
Yeah, I specifically modeled it after the Cigar Aficionados, so the numbers would be comparable. There isn't really that big a range on our site as some others, and that's mostly because it's everybody's opinion coming in to the same place. So you're not going to have, unless it's truly an extraordinary cigar, it's going to be really high. But yeah, we tried to stay in that kind of range that's already known to people.
Yeah, because like I said, that's pretty much what I learned along the way. Is I had certain things that were a little higher than probably what people were used to, and there's other sites that may go the opposite, where they're lower. And it doesn't mean they're killing a cigar, and it doesn't mean I'm oversaying it. It's just kind of how scoring works. And I say for better or for worse, right now the market's conditioned for what cigar aficionado, if we could say criticize cigar aficionado, but in a way they have kind of set that as the
Right.
de facto industry thing. So I think it's a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's just you don't want to, if you come up with your own scoring system, sometimes it's harder for people to follow along. They don't, they know the CA model, so it's an easy translation for them.
Have you ever gotten? You don't have to name a name here. Have you ever gotten a manufacturer just kind of call you up and kind of go like, "What? How did I get this low score?"
Yeah, we have had one. I won't name names.
Right.
They
I count
didn't-
too, but
Okay. They didn't like they thought that we were inconsistent in the scoring. I don't know that they understood the concept of multiple reviewers on a single cigar. So they pretty much, and we never killed. We did multiple cigars on the site of theirs, and they all scored very well. We didn't kill any of the cigars, but we just had a disagreement in the philosophy, and we decided that we would not be continuing the relationship.
That's understood.
overall the
So,
stuff has been really well though.
Do you guys source your own cigars, or do manufacturers give you cigars, or is it kind of a combination?
We do sometimes. If certain companies out there don't give samples to the media, so if we feel like it's going to be a contender for Cigar of the Year, we've got to go out there and buy it ourselves, which we do. So we try and predict what's going to be big, and then kind of after the IPCPR show, we'll see what we have, see what we don't have, and kind of fill in the gaps from there.
Gotcha.
I want to talk a few about some of the other coverage you've had on the site, because I look, my hat's off to you guys. Fantastic site. And you have other things. You have the quick reviews. You guys have done news. I kind of like the diversity that you guys have put into the site. Tell me a little more about what the quick reviews are designed to be.
So the quick reviews are, I think, similar to. I don't want to say it's a copycat of other sites, so I'll kind of use you as a model, Coop. It's the impression of the cigar from a single person's point of view. So on your site, you're doing the review, based on your thoughts on the review. So
Right.
There's going to be some cigars out there that we're not going to either have the quantity of to do blind reviews, or we just can't fit it in with the frequency of what we're doing. And there may be some specialty one-off cigars that we have that we go ahead and just get on the site. So so far it's been Emmett and I doing those, and we'll just do it. It's not a blind review. We're going into it knowing what the cigar is, knowing the hype behind the cigar, things like that. So it's people taking our word that we're still trying to be as unbiased as possible. But it's just a quick take on the cigars that we're referencing in those reviews.
Have you ever gone back and just done a quick review on something blind, and then it's been totally different, or vice versa?
Yeah, I think that we have done that on a couple of cigars. Most of the time, Emmett, since he's on the blind reviews, he doesn't know what's kind of in the queue. So he may do a quick review on something, and later on it turns out to be something that he smoked blind.
So another interesting thing that you guys did, and again, I think you guys I like a lot of the innovative and different things you did, is you went to IPCPR this year, and you guys had the most unique coverage of any media outlet. You did something called the IPCPR in Pictures, which I just loved. Talk about that concept a bit and why you ended up kind of taking that approach. For me, IPCPR is a lot of work. I mean, I think people think that it's a big fun time, and it's Oh yeah,
you're just going there and smoking a bunch of stuff and hanging out with people in the cigar industry, and you're just having a blast. it's fun. I will definitely say it's fun, but it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
And you're going around to booths, you're talking to manufacturers, you're talking to brand owners. Unless I'm recording our conversations or I'm just sitting there and never looking them in the face, I'm just taking notes on a pad of paper. For me, it's really tough to like kind of keep track of everything. And so my hat's off to everybody that does coverage like you, Coop, that, from what you're finding out at the show. It's just, I just thought it was going to be something cool that we just, Emmett's a photographer, so he takes some great pictures, and I just thought it would be a good way that we could, put that together and, just take that different view. We had another concept that we wanted to try, but I think we kind of chickened out on what we wanted to do, and I don't know if Emmett's okay sharing it or not.
Yeah,
I'm not
go
sure
for it.
So he bought a drone with a video camera on it, and we took it. We took it
You
to
got
Vegas.
Paul's interest right now on this. I can tell you that.
I can tell you where this one's going, though.
So we took it to Vegas, all right, and we were gonna go in there and we were gonna launch that thing and take video from above the show floor and post that up as coverage. But with
There were
with
so many signs hanging down, and I just didn't want to kill someone.
and with kind of with the iffy relationship between online media and IPCPR. I don't know if we just didn't want to crash it into somebody's booth and get the boot real quick. We thought about putting half wheel stickers on it, so if it crashed, that we kind of just bail out and just kind of not see what happens. But
yeah, typically I'm in computer security, where the DEF CON security conference has been in Vegas since the beginning of time. And I can tell you that hotels, especially in Las Vegas, really, really frown upon any kind of drone or especially drone surveillance in a hotel casino, even in the conference area.
Yeah, that was a concern.
It's a way to get kicked out of a conference or hotel very fast. So I'm glad you guys did not decide to do that.
Yeah, we decided on sticking with some journalistic integrity and not get the boot.
Right. If you have to seek permission from the hotel and from IPCPR to do something like that. I think that would be very difficult, probably almost not worth it. I see where you're getting at, though, because the drone thing is really cool, and especially you can put cameras on it and stuff. There's some really cool technology out there. It's kind of a pet project of all my nerd friends and I, who's got the coolest drone. I have a small little helicopter that really I can just make crash into a bunch of stuff. So, yeah.
That's what we would have ended up doing anyway.
Yeah.
You guys could take it to maybe one of these festivals, though.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. I was actually going to deploy it at the Rocky Mountain Cigar Festival this year, but I came down with the flu and didn't end up going.
That would be really cool, actually.
Yeah, because that's an outdoor event, so there's nothing. I don't think they would be too upset.
Right. No, it's I kind of thought that was interesting too. Let's kind of just touch base on our cigar at this point. What are you guys getting? Any hints? Anything? Any comments?
My burn has gone pretty crooked.
See,
actually,
I'm not the only one.
Mine actually got a little bit too.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of what you expect with a 60 ring gauge, but flavor-wise, it's been pretty good. Not too strong, but there's definitely some spices in there. I think the underlying tone of it for me is really earthy. Maybe some barnyard and hay in there, along with some baking spices. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, mine started off a little dry, but that was only maybe a quarter of an inch in. My burn's fantastic. I'm not having any issues. It's just finishing up burning through where the wrapper had cracked, so that didn't throw it off at all. But for me, it's more of a kind of a charred oak or kind of a barbecue-ish type flavor. So I'm really enjoying it.
I definitely got the wood notes more so, I think, than anything else, especially in the first 2/3 for me. More that oaky kind of, I would say charred flavor, I would say. In the final third, though, there's this wonderful sweetness that kind of opened up in the final third, which really surprised me.
Yeah.
So let me ask a question to Aaron and Emmett here. So we talked about the burn, and I guess I'll say it's more to Emmett because you guys have a scale for burn right now.
Yep.
How, and I think it's on if you had to say there's different categories, are there 10 categories for burn?
Oh, you mean as far as picking a score?
As far as picking, you kind of assess it. I don't want to use it as a number. So you say like Good,
Right, yeah, we
very
have-
good.
Yeah, we have words associated that you don't see the score next to it, so you're not really thinking about a score when you pick it. So it
Right.
goes from, for the burn category, it goes from perfect, almost perfect, all the way down to really crappy.
So kind of if you were kind of going through this on your score sheet right now, where would that? I'm just kind of curious where it would, because a lot of times I hear from manufacturers, and I just saw a major manufacturer on a podcast a couple of nights ago complain that someone was complaining a burn wasn't perfect. Which but I think in the end, when you're assessing a burn, I mean, I don't. If you get a little crooked and touch it up, I don't think that should kill a burn either.
No, I would put this at, average right now, maybe slightly above average, to be honest.
Okay.
Yeah, for mine, I'd say it's excellent. I mean, it's not like a flat line, but I mean, there's, you go around, it's not leading anywhere, so it's really spot on.
Yeah, for me, I expect to have to touch up a cigar once, maybe. And if I have had absolutely dead nuts perfect burns, and I'll give it 100 points for it. So
Any guess you think on the country?
I don't think it's Nicaraguan. I don't think it's too spicy. I would guess maybe Honduras.
I'm not even gonna venture a guess. I'm horrible at it.
Somewhere in Latin America.
Somewhere south.
Asian, Yeah.
And I'll just kind of say in terms of the wrapper, if you had to guess what kind of wrapper is on this, and I think we could say this is a Maduro. What kind of wrapper is on this thing?
It's not. If I had to guess, I would say maybe an Oscuro, but it's not really dark. Flavor, it's hard to tell since it's Maduro, but I don't think it's a San Andres or broadleaf. Maybe a dark
Dark Habana.
Rojo, something like that, or Habano, yeah.
I'm going to guess San Andreas.
Okay. Do you want me to give answers now, or
Yes.
do you want? Okay. So I'll give you the country of origin. It's Nicaragua.
Oh,
Okay. And I'll give you the wrapper. It's San Andreas.
Ah! Ah!
fooled again.
And I think people know my thoughts on San Andreas, but there was a lot of with this particular cigar that I just thought was really off the norm. So that's kind of why I picked it.
Okay, what is it?
It is a cigar under the House of Emilio line.
Oh, no.
It is the Guayacan Maduro.
Oh, okay.
Which, like I said, it was a different cigar. When I smoked it, I kind of was just trying to find something that would kind of throw us off the path a little. Like I said, for 60, I was actually I've smoked a few of the other sizes. I actually liked the 60 quite a bit in this one. Was it in the end, if you don't like having a 60 cigar in your mouth, it may not be for you, but I was actually, performance-wise, I was pretty impressed with it.
I'd say it's like a 59 ring gauge, though. I agree with Aaron and Emmett. It's like
I'm not disputing it,
yeah, it's like a small 60.
There may be a little shrinkage with the humidity and stuff, too.
That's what she said.
Usually there's shrinkage when you get out of the pool, but yeah.
Among
Don't
other
be saying
things.
Guayacan, gotcha.
Yep.
I
But
tell you
yeah,
what, though, the final third of this cigar is performing extremely well. It is my favorite part of the cigar by
I
far.
totally agree. The sweetness really
Yeah.
kicks in that. And to Emmett's point, there was a lot of that barnyard and non-Dominican type, non-Nicaraguan flavor early on.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I thought when I smoked this thing.
Yeah, I never would have guessed it's a Nicaraguan.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've
Yep.
only had a handful of cigars that are above 58 ring gauge that I really like. This one's pretty good. I would never have grabbed it myself, but I'm glad I got to smoke it.
Yeah, thanks, Will.
Yeah, thank
No
you.
problem. No problem.
All right, you guys ready for the most difficult part of the interview, where we ask you the 5 questions?
Uh-oh.
Go for it.
All right.
Let's do it.
So here's what I'll do. I'm going to start with Aaron, then I'll move to Emmett, and then I'll ask Emmett the question, and I'll move to Aaron, and so on and so forth. So, Aaron,
Yep.
3 words to describe yourself.
Badass motherfucker.
Nice. We just start right out. That's awesome. Emmett.
I can't top that, dude.
And now
I
it's not a
forfeit the-
contest. You
I
don't have to
forfeit the
top each
question.
other.
No, you can't.
We are not
top-
under FCC regulation either, so
That's
you
right.
can say what you want.
Hope not. Too late now.
So Emmett, we'll bypass your 3 words to describe yourself. If you were a serial killer, what would be your weapon of choice?
Oh wow! If I was a serial killer, I'd have to go Dexter and go with chloroform, and then do the dirty work later.
Got it. Aaron?
I'll go with the Garrote. So you just get it right behind them, and it's a little personal. I think it's a good way to go.
Aaron, if you wrote a book about yourself, what would the title be?
Badass motherfucker.
Oh.
Yes, typically the answer for number 1 is reused.
Yeah. Let's go with Never First.
Emmett?
That's very esoteric. I would go with don't let anybody tell you what you can or can't do.
Emmett, in the popular game of Ask Grabby Grabby, do you prefer to go first or second?
Definitely first.
Aaron?
Emmett and I play together, so I go second.
Excellent. Aaron, do you choose 2 celebrities to be your parents? This is the hard
For-
one. I get it. This is the difficult question of the 5.
For a dad, let's go with Alec Baldwin. He's kind of got that mix of badass ladies' man kind of thing, especially if you got to go back to his old days of like The Getaway and stuff like that.
The mom is the difficult one, I know.
Yeah, the mom's the difficult one.
Because your brain right now, I can tell you what your brain's doing. Your brain is gravitating towards the celebrities,
hot
and I'm stalling for you both so you have time. Your brain now is gravitating towards which celebrities you think are smoking hot, and then you
Right.
catch yourself and you're like, wait, she's got to be my mom. I can't be that attracted to my mom because that's really weird. Oh my God, what's going on? And so now you're seeking for that celebrity who would fit to be your mom. That's not the hot celebrity that you've always fantasized about.
don't
Although
know.
some people just gravitate there. And, we're not going to judge. I don't judge
Go
anyone's
for it.
answers to the 5
Yeah.
questions.
Huh. I really don't know.
All right, we'll go
Mom.
to Emmett. We'll let you
Okay.
think about it a little more, Aaron.
All
We'll
right.
go to Emmett. Choose 2
I'd want-
celebrities to be your parents.
I'd want Chris Walken to be my dad, just because he's the coolest guy ever.
Yeah, that would be epic.
And for my mom, I'd have to go with Meg Ryan.
Excellent.
I had Fabio and Farrah Fawcett, by the way. For me, that was.
Just want some good genes in there, huh?
I was
Yeah.
Robert Downey Jr. and Betty White.
That's a fun.
Yeah, Betty
couple.
White's a good one. I like that one.
I had the luxury of being able to think about it for a really long
Yeah.
time before I
Yeah.
came up with my answers because I found these questions
Right,
on
we-
the internet and put 5 together to ask on the show.
Let's go with Michelle Pfeiffer.
There you
Excellent.
go.
Well, Aaron and Emmett from Blind Man's Puff, you can find their website at blindmanspuff.com. Thank you very much for appearing on the Stogie Geek Show. I'm on tap to do a review or 2 with you guys. You guys are
Yep.
sending me cigars, so I'm very much looking forward to that. And again, thank you for appearing on the Stogie Geek Show.
Thank you for having us on.
Thanks for having us.
Feel free to stick around for the next segments, guys.
Absolutely.
All right, thanks.
All right.
We're
Okay.
going to take a short break and come back and continue on with the show. Coming up, we've got a very short Debonair Ideal segment. How to be debonair when you don't like a cigar, in addition to our Stogies of the Week. So stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.